The doors to the Viridian Tea House are open once more. Hello everyone, it's been 2 weeks. My apologies on that. My schedule has gotten quite crazy, so I've kind of gotten rid of some things, so now I can get back into a flow of doing these videos every week. So my apologies for that, but without further ado, let's get started. But I do have some news to talk about first. Yesterday, for those of you who were there or knew about it through social media, I was at the Magic Makers Market, which is a wonderful, wonderful one-day event every month, hosting different metaphysical and witchy and holistic crafts by some of the most talented people I've seen. And yesterday was absolutely bazinga. It was awesome. I really had a good time. I had a wonderful time talking with different people, seeing other small business owners that I remember in previous events. And I just want to give a huge thank you to Jacqueline, who is in charge of the Magic Makers Market. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. I always look forward to these events. I really do. And also to Ant Life Space. The gentleman who owns it and I had a really cool conversation yesterday where he told me that several of his art pieces actually have ants in them. I had no idea, but it was really cool talking with him, and it's just an overall fantastic experience. They've got 2 events coming up in March. One is a Mardi Gras theme, which is going to be, I think, Friday and Saturday, this Friday and Saturday, actually. And then there's the regular Magic Makers Market. I always get that wrong. I think that's supposed to be on the 12th of March. But yeah, so if you live in Denver or nearby, or you're traveling through Colorado during that time, you owe it to yourself to check it out. And if anything, there's some awesome music. The DJs are killer. So thank you so much for having me. And hopefully I will be returning in April. And I'm not going to be there in March because I am doing the Mutiny Market at Town Hall. This is at the Town Hall Collaborative, March the 5th, which is this coming Sunday, actually. The hours are 11 to 5, and the address is 525 Santa Fe Drive in Denver. I will be posting about this starting tonight on social media. So if you follow me through Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, you'll be seeing the notices for the upcoming event. And I'll also put the link to this event in the video once it's uploaded as well. So I'm looking forward to working with Mutiny Market. If you have never heard of them, they have one of the coolest coffee houses I've ever been to. It's a coffee house, comic book and record store, bookstore, and they have a cute black cat named Biggie. It's a lot of fun. So yes, this event will be March the 5th, this coming Sunday from 11 to 5. The address is 525 Santa Fe Drive in Denver. And like I said again, I'll be posting information on the video once I've uploaded. So, all right, without further ado, I've got 3 books to review today. So let's begin. So first, you know, it's funny how I think it's like synchronicity or serendipity or whatever, but whenever I hear about a certain author or writer or creative person over and over and over again in the most random places, that's a trigger for me to just go ahead and check them out. So this particular person, David Hinton, author of the book Wild Mind, Wild Earth. I had actually listened to a podcast interview of his, and then I read about him or heard about him through some social media site or what have you. But anyway, I am so glad that I was able to read this book, and I definitely want to check out his other books as well. Let me read the back of it for you. Exploring the confluence of ancient Chinese spirituality and modern Western environmental thought, Wild Mind, Wild Earth reveals the unrecognized kinship of mind and nature that must be reanimated if we are to end our destruction of the planet. You know, this is a slim book and it's a very quiet read, but it hits you hard. It really does. Earth is embroiled in its sixth major extinction event, this time caused not by asteroids or volcanoes, but by us. At bottom, preventing this sixth extinction is a spiritual and philosophical problem, for it is the assumptions defining us and our relation to Earth that are driving the devastation. Those assumptions insist on a fundamental separation of human and Earth that devalues Earth and enables our exploitative relation to it. In Wild Mind, Wild Earth, David Hinton explores modes of seeing and believing that could save the planet by reestablishing a deep kinship between human and Earth. The insights of primal cultures and those of Chan, or Zen, Buddhism of ancient China. He also shows how these insights have become well established in the West over the last 200 years through the work of poets, philosophers, and scientists. This offers marvelous hope and beauty, but like so many of us, Hinton recognizes that the sixth extinction is now an inexorable and perhaps unstoppable tragedy. And he reveals how those primal and Zen insights enable us to inhabit even the unfurling catastrophe as a profound kind of liberation. Wild Mind, Wild Earth is a remarkable and revitalizing journey. No kidding. This is very much a quiet Buddhist wake-up call in how we respect and treat the earth, and essentially how we treat ourselves and each other. And I found myself really taking a hard look. You know, I consider myself to be an environmentalist, but I also ask the question, is there more that I can do? You know, is throwing money going to solve the problem? Is, you know, planting trees going to solve the problem? Or are we already screwed? But I like how in the interview, he stated that people are already part of the revolution. They're already getting into this mindset of reclaiming our connection to the earth and not seeing that we're masters and lords over it, but actually a part of it. We cannot separate ourselves from this planet. We are very much a part of it, and we're destroying it. So it was a very, very insightful read. This is published through Shambhala, which is up in Boulder. Yay, Boulder. And I truly, truly love this book. And it, like I said, it was a very hard read because I think, well, is it too late? Is it really too late for us? Are we getting ready toward a sixth extinction? Or by the sheer luck, can we turn things around? Like I said, not only with our planet and how we live, but also how we treat ourselves and how we treat each other. You know, I am learning personally, I am learning more about communicating, and I'm learning more about respect for a myriad of subjects and ideas. And I just wonder if that could be part of the seeds that will sprout to something far greater and grander than we can ever imagine. So for Wild Mind, Wild Earth by David Hinton, I give it, get my notes ready here. Sorry. 5 pots of tea from Viridian Tea House. And if Mr. Hinton is watching this, thank you so much for this book. And I'm so glad that those random social media posts led me to reading this book, and I look forward to reading all of your work. So thank you very much. And a side note too, if you're a tea drinker, please let me know, because I would love to send you a bag of tea. I really would. So thank you very much to Mr. David Hinton for Wild Mind, Wild Earth, published through Shambhala Publications. Go Boulder. All right, so the next book I actually discovered while my boyfriend and I were out on Pearl Street. If you've never heard of Pearl Street, it is a really cool street. It's residential, but there's also businesses as well. It's like that typical really cool neighborhood with the third place there. You know, you got bookstores and coffee houses and a Japanese pastry shop, and it's just, it's a lovely street to just walk down on a beautiful spring day. And it was during that time that I went into this really cool store, and I'm so terrible, I forgot to write down the name of the store, so please forgive me, but I'll mention it in the video credits as well. So it led me to this book called Signs by Laura Lynn Jackson, and this is Signs, the Secret Language of the Universe. So when I first saw this, it was interesting because she had like several books kind of laid out in display. And, you know, I looked at this one and then I kind of walked around, looked at others, but I kept coming back to this book. And something inside of me said, you really need to read this. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and purchase this. And I'm so glad that I purchased it. Let me read the back of it for you. A renowned psychic medium teaches us how to recognize and interpret the life-changing messages from loved ones and spirit guides on the other side. Laura Lynn Jackson is a psychic medium and the author of the New York Times bestseller, The Light Between Us. In Signs, Jackson shows us how to ask for and recognize signs from the other side. Messages of comfort from loved ones who have passed that impart a greater understanding of our interconnectedness. She relates stories of people who have experienced uncanny revelations and instances of unexplained synchronicity, as well as others drawn from her own experience. As we learn to open ourselves up to signs from the other side, we will start to find meaning where before there was only confusion, and to see light in the darkness. This is a book that is inspiring and practical, deeply comforting and wonderfully motivational, in asking us to see beyond ourselves to a more magnificent universal design. Yeah, I'll admit, I'm skeptical about some things, and especially dealing with like psychic mediums and stuff like that, even though I am death positive, go figure. And yet in reading this book, I felt like, straight up, that something led me to it. So many years ago, I did one of those Ancestry.com charts on my mother's side. And I discovered that several generations back, we have Louisiana blood. I was like, okay, that makes sense. I love New Orleans. I'm drawn to it. And then I did one of those 23andMe DNA tests, and I found out that 4 generations back, one of my relatives was 100% French. And for some reason, I forgot about it, and I was like, oh, that's really cool, whatever. But for some reason, recently, it has come rushing back at me. It's like, you need to know more. You need to know more. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. So in reading this book, I thought, I like to believe that when people pass on, they go on to paradise or they go to the next life, if reincarnation is real. But the connection between those who have passed and those who are still living, I thought, well, really? Can that really happen? And in this book, there was story after story after story of people. Some were very skeptical. They're like, I don't believe in this. I just do not believe in this. But I cannot explain what just happened and keeps happening to me. I remember, I'll share a personal story with you regarding this. So after my grandfather died, I was very close to my grandparents, but after my grandfather died, it was kind of a, not horrific, but it wasn't the best time. And I think it was near Halloween or around Halloween or something like that. And I was fast asleep and I felt someone sit on a corner of my bed. And I kind of acknowledged it in my sleep, and then I rolled over and then I kind of went back to sleep. And then I felt someone lightly tap my leg 3 times. And I just kind of ignored it. Well, then in my mind, I don't know if it was later that night or if it was the next day, I thought to myself, I think that was my granddad. I think he was kind of saying goodbye to me. And I swear up and down, that's what happened. So reading this book and dealing with the French ancestry that's suddenly bubbling up to the surface, I decided to kind of do what she suggested, to reaching out to your loved ones. So I reached out to this particular ancestor. And one thing about the stories in this book is talking about the different signs, you know, rainbows appear, or hummingbirds, or a giraffe next to an Eiffel Tower. No kidding, that was one of the stories. So in meditating, I mentioned a certain symbol, and I said, okay, this will let me know that you are listening to me and we can connect. And literally the next day, I saw the symbol. I saw it. And I just thought, wow, that's, it's kind of hard to find this particular symbol in Colorado. Let me just say that. But it happened. And it made me think in a completely different way. And it made me just open my mind a little bit more. But I found the stories, some of them were very touching, some of them were very sad, but I like how Laura Lynn Jackson she really was the medium between the ones who had passed and the ones who were still alive. And what's interesting is that she's been tested to, you know, to prove that, you know, she's the real deal. She actually has the gift. But all in all, it was a very insightful read. And in terms of my own experience, you know, I would love to do more research regarding this ancestor and just to kind of see what I find. So, but anyway, enough of the personal stories. Signs by Laura Lynn Jackson receives Viridian Tea House's 4 pots of tea. I truly, truly did enjoy reading this book. And Mrs. Jackson, if you're watching this, I thank you so much. And if you're ever interested to know what the symbol was that I use, I'm more than happy to tell you. But thank you so much for writing this book. And thank you for just showing the way for a lot of people. So thank you again. Thank you. So the final book is one that blew me away. I'm just going to tell you, it blew me away. And I literally finished reading it this morning. And I posted about it on social media. But I really wanted to talk more about it in this particular video. Like, I didn't want to wait. I was like, I don't care how long it takes me. I've got to finish this book today. And please forgive me if I mispronounce the name, but I'm just kind of going phonetically. But this is The Color Line by Igiaba Scego. I hope I'm saying that correctly. What's interesting is that I heard about this book through the New York Times, the New York Times book review. And I just saw an ad for it, and I was like, oh, that's a very intriguing cover. And then thanks to Arapahoe Libraries, thank you, I discovered that they had a copy of the book, and it blew my mind. Let me just read the back of it for you. Print's really small, so please forgive me. Inspired by true events, this gorgeous, haunting novel intertwines the lives of 2 Black female artists more than a century apart, both outsiders in Italy. It was the middle of the 19th century when LaFanu Brown audaciously decided to become an artist. In the wake of the American Civil War, life was especially tough for Black women, but she didn't let that stop her. The daughter of a Native American woman and an African Haitian man, LaFanu had the rare opportunity to study, travel, and follow her dreams, thanks to her indomitable spirit. She really had an amazing spirit about her, but not without facing intolerance and violence. Now, in 1887, living in Rome as one of the city's most established painters, she is ready to tell her fiancé about her difficult life, which began in a poor family 40 years earlier. In 2019, an Italian art curator of Somali origin is desperately trying to bring to Europe her younger cousin, who is only 16 and has already tried to reach Italy on a long, treacherous journey. While organizing an art exhibition that will combine the paintings of Lefanu Brown with the artworks of young migrants, the curator becomes more and more obsessed with the life and secrets of the 19th century painter. Weaving together these two vibrant voices, Igiaba Scego has crafted a powerful exploration of what it means to be other, to be a woman, and particularly a Black woman, in a foreign country, yesterday and today. So the author was born in Rome to a family of Somali ancestry. And that intrigued me. And yet, common sense just kind of dawned on me. It was like, wait a minute, do you really think that people stayed in their own country and they never traveled, they never explored, they never went to, a Russian moving to France and deciding, I like it here, I want to be here. It's the same thing with this book. And even though, and then the author has some notes in the back about real life people that she drew inspiration from. And it just made me realize that you can do anything you put your mind to. And despite naysayers and people telling you, well, you can't do that because you're fill in the blank, you're Black, you're Asian, you're a woman, you're whatever. Whatever you want to do, you put your mind to it and you can make it happen. And Lefanu Brown went through a lot. And there's one horrific scene at her college in Massachusetts, which I won't go into, but it traumatizes her for years. And it's just this thick chain around her neck. I hate to say that, but that's what it felt like to me. But it was through her art and living in Italy that it finally broke away and she became a free woman. This was such an inspiring story. It really reached out and it touched me. And I love the characters. I love the people who were fighting for Lefanu to be a free artist, a free woman of color. And the people who were so stuck in their ways, Black and white, that were, I think, intimidated and afraid of Lefanu Brown because of what she represented. She represented change, a new way of thinking. And it was absolutely beautiful to watch her change into this woman. I mean, she always kind of knew who she was and what she wanted to be, but even more so when she moved to Italy. So I loved this book, and I'm scraping the tip of the iceberg. If you were looking for a very inspiring story, you really need to read The Color Line. And it's more than inspiring. It just shows the will that one human being can have despite all the odds, despite everything. And, as I'm sitting here talking about it, I'm thinking about how I left Memphis and moved to New Orleans and then eventually came out here to Colorado. I'll be honest, I didn't know anybody in this state. And yet, I'm so glad I moved out here. I really am. It has changed me dramatically. And it's made me realize that dreams can really become a reality. You got to work hard and you got to do a failure a lot, but dreams can become a reality. And I am truly grateful for the state of Colorado for being in this part of my life. But anyway, I'm having a lot of personal moments with this video. But yes, for The Color Line by Igiaba Scego. I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. It gets, I wish I could give it 10, but 5 pots of tea from Viridian Tea House. Thank you. And let's see, the publisher was Other Press. I'm going to tag you guys in this social media in the video, but thank you. Thank you so much. This is just one of those books where I wish I could buy like 100 copies and just give them out to all my friends and just be like, don't even ask me, just read it. Just read it. I think your life will change because of it. So thank you. So on to the tea portion. I'll get my notes out here. So today's tea comes from Global Tea Hut. Oops, sorry about the glare. This came from the March 2022 magazine subscription. This is called Rose Quartz, and this is one of their red teas, which in the West, it's black tea, but in China, it's red tea. So with this particular tea, it is a 2008 Gongfu red tea from Lishan. In this particular red tea, there's less oxidation than other red teas. The color, and I'm like, yeah, they're right. The color of the actual tea is a dark orange rather than a dark red. This particular tea was bug bitten, and so it was naturally stimulated regarding the oxidation, but in the bug bites, it intensified the flavor and the oxidation. So this was more natural than man-made or what have you. But yeah, so this is Rose Quartz red tea through Global Tea Hut. And I looked on their website. It's currently sold out. So I'm very happy that I held on to this. But this is my lovely cup of Rose Quartz from Global Tea Hut. It almost kind of has like a flowery, fruity taste to it, but the taste is rather mild. It doesn't, you know, climb out of the cup and smack you across the face. This is quite good. I've allowed the temperature to go down quite a bit. This is lovely. And you know, the name of it, Rose Quartz, that's what I'm kind of feeling in my head. Weirdest thing. That is lovely. So even though they are sold out of the Rose Quartz, you can go onto their website, and I'll put it up on the video, where they have tons of other teas and the magazine subscription, and I think past issues for you to peruse. Plus, they also have tea courses as well. I used to be a member of this group and I need to get back into it, but they're located in Taiwan. So not only are they all about tea, but also about Taoism as well. And you can actually visit their center too. But if you sign up for their subscription every month, you will receive a magazine and their tea of the month, and they'll talk about the tea in the magazine and all this kind of stuff. And you also get a chance to meet other tea enthusiasts all around the world because of this company. So once again, I'm enjoying Rose Quartz by Global Tea Hut. This was back in March 22, and this is a Gongfu red tea from 2008. So thank you very much for that tea. This is going to be nice for the tea meditation, which it's about time. So as I always say, for those of you who are new to this video, 1, welcome, and 2, with the tea meditation, make sure you have a cup of your favorite tea or a glass of water. Find yourself in a comfortable position, either seated, laying down, or standing up. We're going to take 2 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. You can either close your eyes after that or softly focus on an object in front of you. We're just going to breathe normally and just focus on your breathing. It is normal to have thoughts running through your head, called the monkey mind, I think. But the trick is not to try to empty your mind, but when thoughts kind of drag you and pull you in their direction, you just pause, you quietly tell yourself thinking, and you let the thought go by. And you just return to focusing on your breathing. And then when it's time to wrap up, we'll do 1 deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, and then we'll come to, and then we'll enjoy a sip of our tea or water. So if you're ready, let's begin. And now as we end this meditation, take one deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Slowly open your eyes or allow your eyes to come into focus again and enjoy a sip of your favorite tea or your water. Quite lovely. Well, much thanks to the authors that I reviewed today. Also, thanks to Global Tea Hut. This has been a really good and insightful video. I really enjoyed making this one. I really did. But until next time, take care of yourself and each other. And always remember that to drink tea is to enjoy life. Raise your teacup high. And I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.